Welcome back, and today we are gonna learn some things again, at least I hope so, and we are gonna be reviewing your games. Now, if you want to also take part in this, you can upload your video to YouTube. You can send the link in my Discord. We have a channel called Content Review. It's the fourth from the top, and there you can post your links. Now, it's really only for things where we can learn something from it. I don't care about your 1.6 kilometer rocket snipe. I don't care about your flat spin reversal or your 10 kill game. This is mainly for educational purposes. So if you have a fight or a game that you're like, yeah, I want to get better at it, I don't understand what I did wrong, or can I even do anything in this scenario, then feel free to post it in there. It's not guaranteed that I pick it, because a lot of clips that are being sent there are not really beneficial for the channel. So I look through the video, I see basically nothing going on, and then I just discard it. I'm sorry if you are one of those people, but I can't use all of these videos because a lot of them it's either such a minute error that makes the video like 4 minutes long, and I don't want to just say for 4 minutes long, we're in this scenario because you did X wrong. So let's take a look at the first fight here. We have a Yak3U against the 109, as well as a 190 that is about to show up. Now, do keep in mind that I don't know what happens exactly. I just kind of scroll through it, so I do want to keep my reactions somewhat authentic. Right here we have a massive advantage. I'm not sure which 109 that is, but it doesn't really matter because we are in the Yak3U. We are above him, we have a pretty good advantage here, and we're just gonna turn with him. First mistake here is you kind of just fly straight for a little bit. You don't need to do that. You are in the Yak3U. You absolutely rinse this guy. You just want to keep on turning, and you gave this guy quite a bit of position, which is now gonna put a little bit more distance between you two. And in this instance, is going to make it so that he is able to fly away from us. Now, we don't hit those, and in missing those, we turn it into a 1v2. 190 is not going to be the main priority. Please look at the guy instead of looking away when you're dodging, because you actually have no idea what he's doing right now. Then you scissor into the direction away from the 109, which now gives him a lot of position to come back to you. Keep looking around. Your awareness definitely needs some help. Also, you need to lead you around, so clicking directly on him isn't going to work. Awareness kind of bites you in the ass, and you should have died right here because you're not paying attention to the 109. You don't even know what he's doing right now. You are simply turning just to turn. Now what we want to do here is, from here on out, get out of their guns. Get this fight lower, but make sure to not compress too much, because you are just going to be flying straight and it's going to be a very easy target. Your main thing here is you are not looking where these guys are going. You're going up, you're compressing, you're looking at the guy in front of you, you're not looking at the guy behind you. Now you're looking at the guy behind you, but you're not looking at the other one. You're looking at him for a little bit, looking for him, and again, you just kind of get lucky because he isn't actually aiming properly. Now, it might be that he is just using the 30 mil, I am not entirely sure, but he has a very hard time actually killing you, despite the fact that you're going pretty slow. Please fly with your keyboard. That is my main takeaway here. He's just gonna miss again, isn't he? So the thing here is that you're controlling the plane with your mouse, mostly. And I mean, this is already over. You're now going to lose control again. It doesn't really matter what happens from here on out. I believe you die. The main issue is that you're not looking at these guys and you're not focusing on the right target. When you have someone on your 6 and there's a guy energy trapping you, if the energy or enemy on your 6 is something like a 190, you might actually be able to get away with it because he doesn't turn that fantastically. So you can kind of just ignore him. Now, you do want to be careful that he doesn't like start climbing away, start booming, zooming you together with the 109. But if the 109 tries to boom and zoom you, and the 190 just kind of sitting behind you, then you're gonna need to kill one of them quickly and then try to reverse the next one. And yes, this is not an easy task, and it does require a bit of practice and also a bit of luck. But looking around and knowing what your enemy are doing is probably the most important part, because without any info, you have nothing to process and really nothing to build your gameplay on. And yes, it is kind of difficult, I understand it, you are juggling two people at once, but it's very important to keep your attention on both of them at the same time so you know what to do. Right here, I don't even know what to tell you because I don't have the information to actually give you an idea. Now, the main thing is right here, you're going for the 190. The 109 has a decent amount of energy directly below you. So what's going to end up happening is he's going to be able to just pitch up into you. You're already not looking at him. He might as well just be shooting at you. You're not dodging last second. This is a very easy shot. And if you are going to run into a player that is actually pretty proficient at this game, you're already dead right here to the 190. Then we make the second major issue where I still have the information to give you tips. You turn away from the 109, which basically just gives him a massive opportunity to latch onto your 6. You don't want that to happen. You have an energy advantage, and you're just going to be throwing it away and giving him a lot of position. Now here we turn into the 190, and this is the trajectory that you should have kept, because now you're going to turn into the 109, making it harder for him to latch onto you, turning it into a bit of a head-on, and it might cost him a lot more energy other than just being very freely on your 6. Here's the main issue. We turn to this side. We want to focus on the 109 right here. And from here on out, I basically don't know what's happening anymore. You completely forgot about the 109. He is free to simply turn around. And he's going to get a very free shot on you. Now you're going to see him miss everything. Like, this is never going to hit. But you know, aiming is an entirely different beast. We turn away from the 109 still. We're not looking at him at all. And there he is. We finally see him at 0.43. While only going about 380 IES, which is not a lot of airspeed to actually start dodging this guy. So we roll on over to the bottom, he misses everything, and here you give position to both of these guys. And at this point right here, you kind of sealed your fate. Now you are going to be alive for another minute and a half, because these guys also can't aim. But please, you need to be looking at both of them, or have like a mental way of knowing where someone is roughly. Like if you have a lot of experience, you know that if someone is roughly there and he's turning into this direction, he is not going to have a shot for another 5 to 6 seconds. And then it's okay to not constantly look at the guy that is not an immediate threat. But you do want to keep tabs on people, because if they do something that you don't expect, especially if you don't look at them for over 20 seconds, it is very likely you are simply going to die. So main thing here is going to be awareness, and don't forget about your enemies that are in very close proximity of you. Next up we have an F5E, I believe anyway, didn't really say what it was. F5E J35XS. Right, so I actually kind of know what's gonna happen, and this is something that I talked about a lot in the last video. Well, I tell people simply flying straight isn't going to get you anywhere. Why? Because you're not really gaining any position. So we go head on with 2 of the J35 and one, or the J8 and the J35, and nothing really happens. At this point we are free to do whatever we want. But there comes the second one. Now we are flying straight, we are climbing, and we are giving this guy the opportunity to close in on us. He is faster than us, he has a faster plane than us, and this is not a trajectory that we are gonna win in the long run. So there is really no reason for us to try and run away from him. Now we are gonna let him just rip all his missiles off. You kind of wait a long time to flare that. If you get unlucky with the rise time, it might just end up slamming directly into you. But it's a F5 and you're probably not that hot, so it doesn't really matter. And again, you are trying to outrun this guy, but he's faster than us already, and his top speed is higher. So there is really no reason for us to try to get away from him. And this is exactly what I meant in my 109 F2 video. Trying to just run from someone and giving him infinite opportunities to kill you. Eventually he's going to kill you. You need to start bleeding this guy of energy, or just get him towards your team. Right now you are not gaining any ground. You're simply delaying the inevitable, because you're not actually doing anything. You're not accomplishing anything. You're simply flying straight and letting this guy just ride your ass for a prolonged period of time, which eventually is going to give him the kill, unless of course he misses all his rounds and then he peels out like the guy did to me in the F4C video. We are still trying to keep our speed while trying to reverse him. Now, if there are very thick clouds and it's something like a night map, yes, maybe you'll get away with losing him in the clouds, breaking off and running from him. But in this case, it doesn't really work at all. He's now 0.3 on us, and yes, we are going to go into a little bit of a scissoring motion, but you're not trying to reverse him. You're still trying to run away from the J35, which basically ends up with him reeling you in. If you have someone on your 6, they have to turn considerably less to get guns on you than you need to turn to actually get out of their nose. Why? Because they are 400 meters behind you, and when they pull a little bit, they basically aim where you would be if you pull very hard. You're still trying to outrun him. You need to dodge him, he is within gun range, you can't just fly straight, and he is faster than you. So what you're doing right here, really, it got you nowhere. And you got lucky, he only hit you. It's the second hit you've taken actually this game, and you got away with it. And now, again, we are gonna try to run from the J35. And he is still faster than us, because he is simply going quicker than us. We are trying to outrun someone that we can't outrun. What you need to do here is very simple actually. You need to just turn in while he's still pretty far away. This is not salvageable. Now sure, if he's really bad, he's going to overshoot and you might be able to kill him. That is something that does happen, but that is something that you shouldn't rely on. Instead, what you want to do, let's take a quick look at it. J35 pops up. Say your awareness isn't fantastic, because you're not really looking around. We see him right here. We are going Mach 0.96, which is almost our top speed. And what do? We put it into a climb versus a guy that is clearly running us down, that is diving on us, so he is gonna catch us. What do? Do we either run away, give him position, and give him an infinite amount of shots, where it doesn't really matter how bad he is eventually going to catch us, or do we just kind of turn into him, and we might not be able to get a head on here, but that's not important. What we need to do is keep our ass clear. So by turning into this guy, you're going to give him no position whatsoever, and yes, you will be closer to him, but he's going to close the gap regardless. It's better to be nose to nose than ass to nose, because he's going to start sniffing it, and if you're unlucky, he really likes the smell, and he's just going to lick you up, and you don't want that to happen. So right here, I guess it's still somewhat okay, but now you really need to start turning in. You're not doing anything, and as I said before, if you're not doing anything, you're not gaining any ground, you're not turning the situation into your favor at all, and if you don't turn it into your favor whatsoever, there is no positive outcome to be had. So what you want to do here is simply turn in, perhaps fly to your team. Your team looks pretty rough, but what you did here accomplished literally nothing other than delay the inevitable. You need to make something happen. And sometimes taking a little bit of risk, as I talk about all the time, is less risky than taking no risk at all. Here you're trying to play it safe by running away from the guy, but running away here doesn't accomplish anything. And I'm a broken record at this point. I am basically doing the same thing as you did. Trying to make something happen by doing the same thing. And that is it for the F5E clip. Because, well, you also got lucky with getting hit like 2 or 3 times as well. But, you know, that is not the point of this clip. Let's take a look at the next one. And then we have the G55 versus the P51 and the P38. Now, I'm not entirely sure which variant. Didn't specify it. Did he? No, he didn't specify it. There's nothing there. Nope. So we're gonna just take a look at what's going on. We are full on fuel, we are full on ammo, we are not damaged, we are not overheating. And we can climb a little bit steeper here. Now that's the first one, it's the Chinese P38, so that's probably gonna be the L0. So we have to keep in mind that this guy will not compress at high speed. And that he's gonna be faster than us. We need to be careful because he actually has quite a bit of nose authority. Which basically means how easily you can put the nose on where you want it to be. But it's a little bit sluggish to aim, which we can use in our advantage. But that is something that I wouldn't necessarily rely on. Now the P51 is nowhere to be found. You keep looking around, which is good. Love to see it. We complete the objective. Good job, soldier. And Zombie Big Head is now coming in. And here's the first thing that you do correct. What the F5 did last game was try to run away from the faster vehicle with a slight energy advantage. Here we press on the attack, which means that he is going to be under pressure, which means that he's going to lose more energy trying to kill us, making him easier to kill, as well as the fact that you actually get to point your guns at him, which is always a good thing when you're trying to kill someone. In real life as well, in Minecraft of course. So we dive a little bit, pick up some speed, which is okay, yeah, that's probably okay. Okay, let's see what the plan is here. Alright. I have some things to talk about, and you... no. Okay. Normally, I let the clip play out and I would talk about it, but this is such a major error that I have to address it immediately. So up until this point, the first 20 seconds, basically, we are good. Right here is your first critical error. We don't shoot at the P38. Why are we not shooting at the P38? We have 650 rounds, we are on an energy disadvantage, and he is in the battle plane. Now sure, he is gonna be the worst dogfighter, but in this situation, I'd rather be in the P38 than the G55. Other than the fact that the G55 can very easily turn around and then like spray you with 3 of the 20 mils. We don't shoot at him, so we don't have an opportunity to kill him either by luck or simply by aiming well. We don't put any pressure on him, so he doesn't have to dodge. And basically from this point out, he's going to have the shot on you. From 1.33 kilometers all the way until he reaches us. Which is going to give him a very big firing solution. Now, if you were to dodge like this and then pull back in, might have been able to get away with it, especially into something like a 1v2 or a 1v3. But that's not what's going on just yet. And then we do the second cardinal sin, and that's giving this guy your 6. Because we simply pull out. We don't even try to merge again. We basically let this guy start on our 6 for free for no reason whatsoever. If you think that going head on with someone slow is dangerous, giving your 6 when you're slow is even more dangerous. So I'm not entirely sure why you picked this solution. And then after giving him our 6, we're gonna make cardinal sin number 3. Giving the guy that's already aiming at us, because he is, an even easier shot by going slower and pulling full broadside. So right here, we get up over his nose, kind of, and we just stall directly in front of him. We're going 320. You're lucky that this guy can't aim, but you should have been dead right here. And we get very lucky, because all he damages is the one part of our tail that doesn't control anything. So we get very, very lucky here. I see this all the time, and this happens very often in my videos, and when it happens, people say, where do you get these paid actors? Unfortunately, this is something that happens very often, and I get your thought process here. You're on the slightly more maneuverable plane, so you want to reverse him, because it's going to get him closer to you, because he's faster, and you don't want him to run away. Completely understandable, but when you're both going 400, you're just going to give this guy an extremely easy shot. If you're flying jets and you're both going like 900 into the merge, something like this might actually work. If someone is going much faster than you, he is never going to pull into the shot when you pull up over his nose like this. But none of these criteria are met, and you are simply going to give this guy a very easy shot to just kind of dome you directly in the head. Now luckily, he misses all his rounds and he hits you once in the tail, and he misses the rest. Now here comes mistake number 4, and I'm terribly sorry that I'm ripping into you like this, but this is why people send me stuff, and this is the stuff that I can commentate on. We then pull down, but instead of pulling down, we start pulling back in front of him, right here. Now he, luckily for us, doesn't start rolling into us, and he doesn't gain any position, because he's simply flying straight, but he then starts rolling in. Now at this point, you can go down like this, because he has to roll over and then pull in, and he's never going to get that shot, so you are completely okay. Also, did you throttle down while going vertical? You throttled down. Okay, you throttled down right there. That is fine, I guess. But you want to keep pulling in here. You don't want to change trajectory. Just keep your nose pointed at him and just pull on the stick like you do on a Saturday night. So right here, he flew straight for a little bit. He sacrificed a lot of position. And now we are going to be able to somewhat pull into him. He overrolls. He's probably using his rudders. So he's going to roll into the wrong direction, but we are also flying into the wrong direction. Why are we flying away from him in a scissor? You're just going to give this guy a lot of position. You have this trajectory, keep this trajectory, and just keep pulling at him. You don't need to roll away here at all. Just pull in, and then you would have been able to pull into him, because he made a mistake here. He input his controls wrong, and he's now going to overroll and be out of position. But because we are also rolling the wrong way, it gets neutralized and we are back to square one. And then we... Okay, your trajectories need a lot of work. So, I hope you can see it here. You start pulling down. He's not going to get this shot. But he overrolls. And now you're both out of position. You're both turning away from each other. Which is kind of funny. At this point, I would almost say turn it into a raid fight. Because he's probably going to try to roll around again. And you're going to gain a lot of position there. But... you should have just kept turning into it. Now, he is behind us. He is completing the loop to the right side of our screen. And he's behind us. So what do? We roll back in and we give him the shot. Now, is he going to dodge? Is the big question. And there's the P-51. I'm not sure which variant, but we'll probably figure that one out in a second. I'm going to guess like a D5, but we'll see. Is he going to dodge? My bets are no, but I'm kind of curious. He's about to pull in, and okay, he rolls out of the way last second. Still putting it kind of close, but luckily your enemy is also flying with his keyboard or perhaps a controller, and he's not actually inputting his rolls properly. Otherwise, you could have died right here as well. Now we're gonna dive into the P-51, pick up a little bit of speed, and then we're gonna turn with them. Now let's see how we are gonna look at our target prioritization. We get behind them both essentially. We're gonna go for the P-51. Personally, I would have gone for the P-38 because you could have gotten the shot right there. And other than that shot, fighting it somewhat correctly, pulling into the P-51 and the P-38. We are now on the 6 of the P-38. Not really able to read how fast he was going. I think we are going roughly the same speed. Yeah, it's about the same. And you're probably not going to reach him here. He's just going to climb away and then you get a P-51 on your 6. So I probably would have done the same thing. Go for the P-51 instead. We can probably see what variant it is. Man, it is so... Oh, wait. Maybe we can... That's a D30? That's a D30. Okay, that's good to know. Kind of annoying that it doesn't show. I'm not sure why it doesn't show. Maybe it's because you're on console. I don't know. I'm looking at his trajectory. And you're using flaps as well here, which is really not necessary. You're just pissing away more speed than you need. And we're gonna go down. And going down here is gonna make you a little bit more aggressive. It's gonna maybe give you the ability to pull in here. We aren't. Not sure why I even bothered to shoot, but you know, whatever. And here we can perhaps pull in behind him, but we lose control. And why are we going down? This guy is at least 1.5 away. How far away is he? 1.4 still. We don't need to be already dodging this guy, because we are now going to sacrifice every positional advantage that we got on the P-51. We go down, we piss away a lot of energy, and we don't use it at all. We just go down a little bit. And yes, this is a rough fight, but this could have been played quite a bit differently. The P-51 is doing it correctly. He's kind of waiting above you, and you just killed yourself. Like clockwork. You're only going 200, he has speed in him, so he is 100% going to pull into that shot. Now let's take a look here at what I meant with pissing away your energy. So you're using flaps here, which is already like, you don't really need to. If you hadn't used flaps, you probably would have caught the P-38 right there. And you could have just sprayed them down, turn it into a 1v1 with the P-51. Additionally, right here, where is it? Right here. You can tell that the P-51, you're never going to get the shot. He's too close, he's pulling in. Whereas the P-38 down there is a little bit lower, he's a little bit further away. Gives you a lot more room. And if you had started turning in right here, you would have probably gotten the shot. But because you changed trajectory right here, you're a little bit too late. And you're not going to get it. Unfortunate. You go horizontal, we pull the flaps in to actually... Okay, fair enough. But then you use flaps again to complete the turn quicker. You're just pissing away speed again. Turn into the P-51, are indecisive. We are in a little bit of a neutral position. He is faster than you, so yes, you can go down here to pick up a bit of speed. Try to get behind him as quick as possible, which is what you do. You start pulling a bit of lead. You're not going to get the shot right here. And then we make the massive error of, first of all, losing control. But you know, it's probably just you having a bad crew, even though this is a premium vehicle. And if you are going to use a vehicle a lot, always expert your crew. We lose control, but it doesn't really matter in the long term. And we already start dodging the P-38 from very far away. You gave the P-38 the position, your ass, everything at the start. And now when you have the ability to almost kill the P-51, instead you're gonna dive away again and give both of them all of the position that they need. So right here, you're already making evasive actions. They're both a kilometer above you. And yes, this is a rough fight. The dodge on the P-38 is correct. But then pulling into the P-51 is not going to get you anywhere. Right here, you don't have the speed to go after him. He's already turning behind you. And, I mean, it's just super free for him. The scenario is basically unwinnable at this point. Because you dropped a lot of speed for no reason. And then especially right here, when you just start going downwards. Like, you're going horizontal here, you're already not going that fast, and then you dive away. You give him even more position, you give him even more of an energy advantage, and here the fate is truly sealed. Hope it was helpful. A lot of things to work on here. Not terrible flying, but a lot of very suboptimal decisions. Especially the one at the start here. If you had played the start differently, at like 2.5 minutes, like right here, if you shoot at him here in the head-on, perhaps he flies into it. At the very least, he might actually dodge your round. We go head-on with him, we merge, and because of the way he has been playing, he is going to send the dogfight with you. You probably would have been able to kill him in 20 seconds flat, and then you would have had a 1v1 to P-51. This maneuver right here compounded all the mistakes later, but this right here got you killed, and you should have already died in this exact moment as well. Next up is an LF Mark 9 and an A6 M5, and I haven't actually watched any of this yet, other than the fact that I know that he's going to get clapped. Well, not really. I only watched the end, but I want to take a look at this matchup, because LF Mark 9 versus an A6M is actually pretty interesting. And the fight is about 4.5 minutes long. Now I might start kind of going through it. But we are in a very good plane to handle these vehicles. Now the J2M is going to be a little bit rough, especially with an A6M directly above him. But you're correct, you need to bait these guys down a little bit. You are on an LF Mark 9 and at low altitude you are going to have a major advantage. Sure, the A6M5 is going to be better at low altitude as well, but relatively to each other, the A6M5 is going to have a worse time versus you at low altitude than you do versus it at high altitude, because the mistakes are a little bit more pronounced and an A6M just literally doesn't stall. Now we are kind of baiting the J2M here by turning into our friendly. Let's see if anything happens or anything comes from it. J2M gets baited down, fantastic, and we now get a little bit of position on the A6M. Perfect. We now have a decent amount of altitude. We are at an altitude where the LF Mark 9 doesn't really like to be, but the A6M doesn't like to be here either, so you're probably going to be somewhat okay. We are able to dive into the head-on here, making us pick up even more speed. He's forced to pitch up into us, and at this point, you kind of already sealed the deal. You would have been completely fine here to just kind of fly over him and energy trap him. Now we go head-on here. Personally, I would have started wepping, pull a little bit to the left. Like, go a little bit to the left here, make him spend a little bit more time climbing, and then you probably would have just been able to loop him. Now we go head on, we almost get shot down, we dodge each other's rounds, and here we just want to go up. Not steep, just go up. Right now he's going to turn behind you, and he has the energy advantage again. Well, sure, you are faster, but he is going to have positional advantage, and position with the A6M is very important. Look how much faster you are. You don't need to dive away right now. You are very well off just trying to climb away. Now we start doing this eventually, and he is going to piss away a lot of speed doing this. I'm going to fast forward a little bit. And you're not really gaining much position here. You're kind of just staying on the same altitude. Sure, you're climbing. You're not climbing very steeply. You're trying to get away from him. Trying to put distance between you, which is like okay. But you're not really getting above him. Sure, you're faster, but you're on equal alt, and the A6M is going to have the ability to simply pitch up into you. You want to get above the A6M or be much quicker. You don't want to dabble in between both of the scenarios where you're either quicker or more maneuverable. And I already know how this is going to end. You're trying to climb away from him forever, and then you just kind of turn around and you Hail Mary it. Now, you could have done a few things. Now, you're kind of lucky that he didn't just spray you down. Again, he tries to dodge, right? He tries to dodge your rounds, and that's why he probably didn't kill you. But right here, you had him by the balls. Like right here, when he starts pulling in, he is pitching up at us. We also are just not wepping throughout basically this entire fight until we start running away for no apparent reason. Like, why are we not wepping right here? We want to pick up as much speed as possible. Dive into this guy. And then all we really need to do is dodge the head-on. And by the time he turns around while trying to pitch up at us, he's energy trapped. Now sure, you can go head-on here, but there's no real reason to do so. Right here, you can simply just straighten out. Don't dive, straighten out. And then slowly start climbing above him. And he should be just dead. And I have plenty of examples of this on my channel. I can't really showcase this right here. But you managed to bait the guy down. Or the enemy or your friendly did. And then you threw away your entire energy advantage in basically a singular pass. Right here you are not picking up much speed. You're dodging, you're pissing away more speed. You merge, he's going very slow. He's like basically stalling. Look at those fucking vapor trails. And we just dive away for no good reason. He's not going anywhere near as fast. You're also like flying in a direction where he's going to be able to get on you quicker. Cost him less energy. And overall this is just a super suboptimal approach. Just go up. Web. Keep your speed. Dive a little bit into him. That's completely fine. But then after a little bit, I recommend you to just piss off. Go up. Shoot at him. Instead of going down, we go up. He's dodging your rounds. He's not gonna have a shot on you. Just fly over him and start climbing gradually, and you should have him energy trapped right then and there. Now, if he stays at altitude and he doesn't actually get below you, what you want to do is, yes, bait him down, because you don't want the A6M on equal or at a higher altitude than you, because they are very time consuming to actually get rid of. So if you are above them, use the opportunity with both hands, start sucking on it, and try to make something happen. Last clip of today, we're gonna look at the 190 D9 with some epic background war tunnel music. And we are gonna be engaging a Yak 3. Now I didn't actually watch anything of this clip. We have the Polish flag on our left wing, I think it is, so we should be able to Japjadole the enemy team quite easily. And yes, that's terrible pronunciation, and no, I won't apologize. Now we are gonna dive after this Yak 3. We're gonna try to push him down. We notice that he is not really trying to fight us. Breaking off is the right course of action here. Don't get roped into following this guy all the way to the deck, where he's gonna have a pretty major advantage. Spitfire FR Mark 14E Belgium pops up, in the French Tech Tree one, of course. And it's one with the clipped wings, and the clipped wing Spitfire is abysmal dog shit. So we should be completely fine here. We had some speed to actually put into a climb, and this is what I like to see. Be careful that he doesn't start spraying at you from like 1.4. Don't go too slow. But you have this under control, and what I'm seeing here is how I would play it personally. So this is great. Now here you could go a little bit more horizontal, because by going up you put more distance between you guys. You have less airflow, less maneuverability, and it's going to take you actually longer to get to him, giving him a bigger opportunity to pull back into you actually. We could have killed him if we just went horizontal there, but now the A6M shows up. Is he going to pitch up into us, because they like to do that? Yes, he is. We are gonna go up over his nose. Little bit risky, but you're probably fine. I'm not sure if you get damaged or crit. I actually haven't even watched anything, so I just don't know. We stall this guy out, which is perfectly fine. Now going down here is just gonna give him a lot of position. Please don't pull into the A6M. What is your camera doing as well? You're kind of lucky that he didn't just send it for the head-on, because that would have been a trade. He probably would have died right there if he just was suicidal. And a lot of A6M pilots are, especially at high altitude. But since he isn't doing that, because he is actually playing with some semblance of sentience, you're gonna get away with it. Now he is now going to piss away all his energy. He's just kind of turning below you for no real reason. You're maintaining your health, you're maintaining your energy. And you're looking around, you're staying vigilant. Overall, I like what I'm seeing. Just small things here that needs to be a little bit tweaked. Guy on our radar behind us. Not entirely sure what that was. I'm gonna pull in. This A6M is just turning for no good reason. Flashback to the G55 clip. Now he's again not gonna be suicidal, because now you have established that you have found the second archetype of A6M pilots. The one that actually wants to stay alive. And he's just gonna be squirrely, and he's just gonna be dodging in front of you. But, major mistake here, and as I said a little bit ago, let's go back to right about here. They should pop up in a second. He shows up on the radar, we go head on with him. Look at the radar, there is 2 dots. He also showed up like somewhere else, I forgot. But we are now below 2 LA7s, while also dealing with an A6M. And this is done deal. If they play it correctly, you're done. That's really all there is to it. This A6M was very likely actually just baiting you down by circling below you for his 2 little teammates, which are now going to have an absolute field day trying to kill you. You will be able to dive away from them just about once, because your rift speed is a lot higher than theirs, but on the deck they will catch you, and in the long run you are going to have a little bit of an issue. Luckily for you, the first LA7 breaks off to go for the bomber, so does the A6M, and never mind, because they're now all going for you again. And because you lost a lot of energy at the start by chasing people down that you didn't need to, you didn't really get anything. And now you are forced to climb away. Your game is over, by the way. At this point, you're flying a D9. And yes, the D9 is a very capable aircraft. But on your own versus this many planes, where all the enemy planes are pretty maneuverable and you have some that are very fast, it's almost an, I can't pronounce the word, but an impossible task. Insurmountable, I think it is. Returning to the air. You love to see it. Everyone is dead, and you're still telling you people that you're going to the airfield. But whatever. We turn around, and I mean at this point it's basically done deal. Just don't tell me you're gonna dive to the airfield and try to. Well, we'll see. We'll see. We'll see. I'm not gonna make any assumptions. LA7 is above us. We are dropping a lot of altitude. I mean, it's basically done at this point, isn't it? What are we doing? We're flying straight. We're trying to gain separation. And at high altitude you might be a little bit quicker than them, but you know, the issue is that the LA7 on R6 is above us and he's slightly diving on us, making his top speed quite a bit higher. Being in like a 5-degree climb makes your top speed a lot faster. It's not actually top speed anymore, but you know what I mean. 5-degree dive when you have a slower plane makes up for quite a bit of quite a bit of speed. Everyone is chasing us, and I mean at this point he's gonna catch us. He's gonna get very close. We are gonna have to start dodging his rounds, making him get even closer, and you probably die right here. Last Hail Mary, you can try to dive away, pull them out to low altitude, hope that they rip their wings off, but the issue is you have no teammates, you're not baiting for anyone, you only have yourself, and this is just not winnable anymore. Oh. Oh, God fucking damn it, I love comedic timing. So we passed out and we died. Now, at this point there's really nothing you can do, you don't beat yourself up about it too much. Overall, you played it, the first half here is pretty good. There's some small things, like the horizontal turn here with the Mark 14, you probably would have been able to kill him. Now the A6M here, you're not gonna do much against. But the Mark 14 here, like if you went horizontal here, you might have been able to pick him off. Would have been able to kill him. A6M is going to be slightly more annoying, and it's a very annoying plane to deal with in the Dora. I'm not going to fault you for that one. But you might as well just try to go for him, shoot him down. The issue is that the second zero, of course, pops up. And in the long run, he doesn't really play a part in this issue. Sure, you could have killed him, but if you had held your position right here and had been a little bit more cautious, then you would have been still above the LA7s. A6M gets underneath us, he pitches up. A little bit risky if he has very good aim, but like overall this is fine. We go horizontal for a little bit instead of straight up, makes us a little bit harder to hit. Love to see it. He goes down, we go up, and we want to look around because we have not been looking on the horizon whatsoever. And that is eventually what got us killed actually. And we look at them there for a little bit. We go down on the A6M. Freaky style. He goes down again on us. We look there for a very brief moment. Now we look on the horizon. We see nothing. But there's still a corner of the map where we haven't looked. Haven't looked at their airfield direction basically. We go up over the A6M. And this is fine if you're just dealing with the A6M. But of course this is the start of the game. And it's gonna be a little bit risky. And we might find ourselves getting clapped. There it is. That is the one that I mentioned earlier. You see this dot. You actually saw him on your screen for a little bit. So you are looking around. There he is. 3.7 kilometers. You have the altitude advantage. You are on a plane that's better at high altitude. And you didn't capitalize on it. Just look around a little bit better. The maneuvers in itself aren't a major issue. Just look around a little bit more. Be a little bit more cautious. And you can be a bit more aggressive. But that's, I guess, why the name is Passive Skill Issue. The cut is from Frankenstein. Okay, fair enough. But yeah, at this point you're dead. Because now the two LA7s are above you. And there's very little you can do. Now, I'm going to be real with you. The chances of winning this are slim to none. Mainly because, well, guess what? It's like 1v10 and you're in a Dora. And even though you have a pretty favorable matchmaker, they have such a good mix of enemy planes that it's very unlikely, unless they throw extremely hard, enable for you to win. Now, looking at what the LA7 did, where it did this gradual dive into you, and then it like picked up some speed by getting below you, and then pitching up into you. He had an idea of what was going on, and when you have a few of those guys in a very big group, it doesn't matter how bad they are, as long as they know the basics, you're gonna have a hell of a time trying to salvage it. Yeah, overall, looking pretty solid. Heisenberg has cooked today. Jesse, I need to go to bed. Thank you all for watching. If you want to send your clips, feel free to do so on my Discord in the content review tab. And you will see me all after the weekend.